I'll make a long story short. And I often said, if the Lord would ask me, what about your life would you want me to change? I'd tell him nothing. Have I told you that before? I told you that before. I'd tell you nothing. The fact that my father died before I got old enough to know him, I wouldn't change that. Because he sent my daddy in my life when before I knew him, but he raised me to be whatever kind of man I am.
Good man.
Any kind of qualities that I have about how you treat people, as far as a man's perspective, came from my daddy. And I was fortunate to have a grand aunt that lived on the same little half acre. I told you about that earlier on. With my little lady that grew up like my sister. Their aunt lived with my grand aunt. We had two little houses on a half acre land. And they lived in one house, and my mom and daddy and all the rest of us lived in another house. If I were to try to change anything about the fact that my dad's only son, by blood, died when he was 12 years old. If I even thought second time about changing anything, that'd probably be it, but I wouldn't change that. It taught me something great as far as life was concerned. And as life went on, all of the things that have occurred in my life, I wouldn't change it. The fact that I used to come in some nights when I was the last one at home, the other brothers were in the military, because they both went in just after World War II and just during the Korean conflict. Thank God I was still in high school and was a little too young, because my middle brother was 18, and they drafted him. They were going to draft him. So my dad, there he is again, who was on a part of the draft board, told him, you better join, because they're going to draft you and send you to Korea, and I don't want you over there. Korean conflict was going on. So when I look at that, and I look at the fact that even though he only lived 49 years, my oldest brother, still my father and mother, spent 24 years in the military, retired, and to this day, one of the most attentive people that I have is his daughter, who's my niece, and his grandson, who's my grandnephew. Why would I change anything? You know. So we mourn too many things sometimes. You know. Well, there's a scripture that speaks about rejoicing at that.
Yes.
You know, and you sometimes wonder, how can that be? You know. Well, the rejoicing comes in the fact that you're not only going to leave this life, but you're going to be spending eternity with God.
Yeah.
If you've been living the right kind of life. You know? No, but and when and I'll end this with this. I got my first job miraculously. I won't go through the details of it, but I had every interview that I needed to have in one day. I was still in the Army when I had them, and I got the job over some people who were still around here working and were high on the list. That's a miracle.
God's favor.
God's favor.
Favor.
That's that. See. The what's the grace of God? That's His unmerited favor. You see, and so I think about that, and I think about the fact that I'll tell you all this, because this is something I've never told anybody. I met my wife at her aunt's house, and she was walking in the door with her ex-husband to be. She was in the process of getting divorced. And Antionette, I looked at that girl, and I said to myself, now this girl's got to get out of this stuff, because she got to marry me.
All right.
At any rate, she I found out that they were going to have the final of the divorce the next week. I told my friend that I came in, who was dating her aunt. I said, well, listen, man, we better come in next week. we haven't been apart unnecessarily so. For reasons other than education, when I went to Michigan, something of that nature, when she went to visit her family in California. So we've never been apart since that day. And so we've been married 53 years now. So it's one of them things. You know. But so I want to thank all of you for everything, and know that I'm here by the grace of God. And you're here today, and I thank God for you because of His grace and His mercy. And I appreciate and love each one of you dearly. Even though I'm getting old and forgetful.
I keep asking them, I don't know what's my problem now. I have some blanks all the time.
and forget a name or two here and there, but it'll come, okay? Thank y'all so much. I won't hold you up with a whole lot of
They said that it's time for you to eat.